overridden, and the grossly overstuffed. I'm Julie Jester, the chaotic bisexual horse known on TikTok as Plant-Based Bird Girl, and the eater of tofurkey on Thanksgiving, just like her ancestors would have hated.
And I'm Ellie Rudy. I'm a journalist covering the LGBTQ+ community, a lover of pecan pie, and the pot stirrer at Thanksgiving dinner. We're here to talk about gay Thanksgiving foods, learn about queer Indigenous identities, and offer advice on how to deal with shitty family members during the holidays. Spoiler alert, you're probably going to want to listen to Julie's advice over mine.
This episode is for the handprint turkeys covered in glitter, those who say, I'm good to the family football game, the people who only like this holiday for the parade, and, if you're like me, the Thanksgiving pariah. All right. Hi, welcome to the Thanksgiving episode. This is the cursed Thanksgiving episode because this is now our 7th attempt at the first literally 10 minutes of this episode. Things just keep going wrong. It's sound, it's pets, it's humble beginnings all around.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. You pretty much got it. It's been chaos. It's normally chaos, but it has been a different caliber of chaos than we've experienced thus far.
It's significantly more evil chaos, and I think it is our white colonializer ancestors angry at us for the kind of genderqueer things that we're about to say on this podcast.
Yeah, probably.
And because I mentioned tofurkey. Anytime you mention tofurkey, a colonial ancestor comes to haunt you. So I've got like 3 or 4 on my back right now.
Okay. What are you talking about, lady?
Well, speaking of our ancestors, let's talk about how this week in our lives, we can say Happy Thanksgiving, or we could say Happy Native American Heritage Month. And actually, you can do that for the whole month, not just this week. So we didn't want to do an entire Thanksgiving episode without mentioning the Native culture that existed here long before us and that we committed horrible acts upon. And we also recognize our whiteness here in this space, and we recognize that this is a sensitive topic, so we don't want to over-joke it, over-goof it, or anything like that, even though this is the podcast for the grossly ostentatious. We hope in the future to be able to get queer Indigenous people on this podcast and to be able to interview them for episodes like this. But until then, you will just have me trying my best to teach you a little bit about some Indigenous queer cultures. So let's start with, and I mean, this is the entire thing that I'll be talking about, is two-spirited Native American folk. So you may have heard two-spirited being spoken about. I've seen it on like Tumblr posts and TikTok posts and the like. But I would just like to point out that two-spirited is not a term that came into play until the 90s. Now, when I say two-spirited, it is essentially, if we wanted to equate it to our own terms, the word for non-binary or genderqueer, like meaning, you know, of both male and female spirits. But it is not that simple, and it varies across multiple different tribes, what that means and how people feel about them within their tribe. So what were they called before this? Well, originally, each tribe, as you might have guessed, had their own language, had their own word for genderqueer, for non-binary. So some examples of that we have in the Navajo tribe. There was the Nadlihi. I practice pronunciations on these all morning, and I have here emphasis on the nad, even though me and my white ass wanted to emphasize the last word. So this means the changing one. Kind of beautiful. The changing one.
It sounds very magic.
Yes. Nadlihi. I'm like, okay, yes, please. Come show me the way. The changing one. So then we have the Osage, the Omaha, the Kansa, and the Oto, who have this term that's spelled Mixu'Ga. Now, I looked all over for a pronunciation of this term, and I did not find one. It looks like it should say Mixuge, based off of what I saw off of other pronunciation of Native American words, but that's up for interpretation. Don't take my word on it.
And also any Indigenous listeners listening, like, please at us with correct pronunciation if you feel called to do so, because we will probably unfortunately, we will probably not get all of this right, but we would love to know the right way to say it, so in the future we know how to do it correctly.
Yes, and we would love to share with others the right way to say it, but also it is not your responsibility to educate us by a long shot. So, Mixuge. It means moon instructed, which I was really into this term because I am in a relationship with the moon. The moon is my girlfriend. She's the only one that I am truly monogamous with. So really cool that we have a word for non-binary genderqueer that means moon instructed. And then over in the Lakota tribe, we have the Winkate, which means, which can either mean if you're assigned male at birth, wants to be a woman, or assigned female at birth, thinks she can act like a man, which does sound like it has some judgment on it. Now, I've spoken a lot on my TikTok channel about how genderqueerness has existed in cultures all across history throughout time, and that is true. Non-binaryhood, genderqueerness, all of that. You can find it in so many civilizations, and it really isn't until we get religion, specifically Christian religion, specifically Christianity, specifically white European Westernism. It isn't until then that we really find this blockade on it, and that we find it that it's not okay.
And like, sorry, this is my women and gender studies major coming out, but it's like during colonialism, during colonialism, you have like all these white people coming over and seeing these indigenous tribes that would celebrate, this gender queerness, and you'd have these white people being like, this is a monstrosity, like this doesn't make sense, this goes against everything. But it's like, if you look at the timeline of it, like cisness is actually the monstrosity, like that's what actually goes against tradition, like tradition for so many cultures, like you were saying, but especially indigenous, which are like thousands of years old, have had this gender queerness as an integral part of that culture. And then like these Western people come in and are like, that's a monstrosity. It's like, no, girly, if you think about it, actually what you guys are doing is a monstrosity and like super basic and boring. And like, you need to like free your mind and the rest will follow, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
So honestly, that's kind of on us white people for screwing that up.
Yeah. Screwed that up pretty horribly. So we have two-spirited. We have all of these words that I'm describing to you. Then the colonial people come over, the colonizers come over, and they assign this word to all sort of Native American genderqueerness, which is burdash. And this is assigned by settlers, and this is now a pretty offensive word in Native American communities because it was assigned by European white settlers, and no one wants to be called what European white settlers call them. So then in the 90s, we settle on this term called two-spirited, which is a pan-Indian term. There's this sort of philosophical and political thought called pan-Indian, which is a way of Native American people preserving their own culture while also becoming a part of urban society and living there. And so some people who are very into their indigenous roots and who are very respectful of their indigenous culture do see this as whitewashing and homogenization. But I believe that the root of the pan-Indian term is all coming from Native people that are working towards this way of being respectful of their culture while also living among an urbanized culture. But at the same time, they wouldn't feel the need to do any of that if we hadn't gotten here in the first place. So it's all kind of a thing. But two-spirited seems to be a widely agreed upon word for genderqueerness within indigenous cultures and all of these separate sort of terms that existed in different tribes. Now, yes, in many of these tribes, genderqueer people were revered. They were considered shamans. They were considered ceremonial leaders. Yes, queens. We loved them. But in some of them, also, the word for genderqueer meant coward. if tribes were at war with each other and one of them won, the genderqueer people would be taken as slaves. There's a whole history of genderqueerness, both being ostracized and revered, and we can't ignore one part of it just to say like, oh, Native American people had it all correct. They knew genderqueerness was the correct thing 100%, and that was completely perfect. We can't just want history to look like that for our own queer benefits and to continually blame other factors on why queer people and non-binary people and gender queerness is so hated. But at the same time, a Native American look on genderqueerness is a much more fluid one, is a much more respectful one, and they even at least had the terms and believed in this non-binariness across these cultures. Whether or not it was revered or not, it was considered a real thing, and it was considered across. It was considered something to be coming from dreams. It was considered to be a bridge across genders. It was considered something supernatural and amazing. And I think that's really cool. And that is a perspective that I wish we had more of in our society with non-binaryhood. Because I feel like for someone to come out as non-binary or trans, you think it's a rejection of society instead of a recognition of their own specialness and a recognition of their own incredibleness.
And imagine if in like Western culture, if you came out as trans or non-binary and people were like, okay, shaman, go off. Like, that would be great.
Yeah, okay. Like, please say a prayer for us before we go into battle because you are blessed.
Right? Yeah, like, being viewed as like a higher level of being. Like, that's what we should be striving for.
Yeah, yes. Now, on a heavier note, the Indigenous queer people, when we were colonizing, I guess is the word that I'm looking for, Indigenous people, it was often the gender queer ones who were the first to be killed, to be slaughtered. And it got to the point where even in Indigenous tribes that respected and revered genderqueer people, they were like, you need to go into hiding, you need to not express your genderqueerness, you need to go underground and be hidden because you will get killed. Like, you will be the first to be picked out. And there's actually this really horrid painting that's in the Smithsonian of someone who painted this. There was this killing where they rounded up 40 Indigenous queer folk and had them be eaten by dogs. And that's just like hanging in our culture as just like a memory we all share, which is horrid and disgusting.
Yeah, horrible.
Another thing that I found really interesting is is how we are seeing European and white eyes, how we are looking through their lens at these cultures. So there was this artist named George Catlin who is kind of a shithead. He went to go and paint and draw and study Native American peoples in the Old West, quote unquote, and he was writing journals about them. He made all these paintings of them, and in his paintings, he definitely like makes Native American people look a lot like scarier and more brutal than they are. But he is at one point drawing a ceremonial dance for the Burdash, again, that word that we're no longer using. He's drawing one of their ceremonial dances that is in celebration of two-spirited folk, but the way that he writes about it makes it sound like two-spirited folk are the most hated people of the tribe. And what, like, George Catlin, I don't even care to get his name right. Whatever it is that he is looking at is a celebration of queerness, and then he's like, and for some reason they're making fun of the slaves of the tribe, these like idiotic men who dress in women's clothes and have to do all of the chores. And it's so crazy to think of it as chores, because they were truly sacred and religious duties that were being performed by two-spirited folk of the tribe. They got to make they got to be basket weavers, they got to They got to be performing religious ceremonies, do some of the naming of the people, which is like a huge honor. They spoke with higher powers, with spirits, with all. And they were, often revered. And in this tribe that George Catlin is looking at is revered. They were getting to do all of this stuff. And George is like, what a chore. And meanwhile, it's literally just living in a society that cares for each other. Okay, at future capitalism. Okay, at G's.
Yeah, fuck George.
Fuck George. Literally fuck George. When I was reading it, I don't even want to read it. And the annoying thing is that it's the only, at least with this painting at the Smithsonian, it is the only thing that's written underneath it is his view of what is going on here. And I worry for someone who doesn't do their research to see him talking about this ceremony and talking about it in such a degrading light. And for someone to just read that and not know the context to be like, oh, wow, Native Americans hated queer people. When really it was George bringing his sassy and stupid little opinions to the mix.
Yeah, George sucks and should be fired.
Yeah. Yep, fuck George.
I mean, I'm assuming he's dead, but maybe rot.
He's definitely dead. So that's sort of it in art and the like. And honestly, there are so many resources on Native American, Indigenous culture, and there are so many other Indigenous cultures with gender queerness within them, like the Maori people, just all across the world. We could do so many episodes on all of this. We would love to get more representation onto this podcast as well. So we'll be posting our show notes with links to all of these things. There's some really interesting PowerPoints where you could look at all of the terms that we know that existed for gender queerness across multiple tribes and see what they mean. There's some really interesting ones.
And I would also encourage everyone who's listening, but especially white folks, I think it's really easy to lose, during Thanksgiving to kind of actually think about why we're celebrating. Like what it is a celebration of is unfortunately white people coming over and quote unquote discovering a place that already existed with vibrant cultures that were already there. Like the roots of this holiday are not a beautiful, great thing. It's great eating yummy food and being thankful with your family, but I think it is really important that we all take a step back and realize the history of this holiday. And we're about to enter this season of giving, very much so, with Christmas and Hanukkah and all that stuff coming up, and just redistribute some of your funds to a local tribe that is in need of donations and all that stuff. Really giving your money is good. So give your money to good places and not bad places. I started off really eloquent and then I was like, oh, I forgot how to talk. But bottom line is and we'll also in show notes, we'll post some good organizations to support.
Yes. We are in no way against being thankful. We are in no way against seeing your family. We are in no way against eating a big meal. But we need to remember the context of this holiday, just like we need to remember the context of all of this stuff that we're looking at and how much of it is through European eyes, white eyes, viewership, and how much, vibrant culture was erased. It's not good.
No.
It's not good to say the least, babes.
All right, so my topic this week is not as meaningful, but also worth mentioning for some reason. Thank you, Julie, for providing some of that really great context for Thanksgiving. I went in a little bit of a different direction, and I decided to rank Thanksgiving foods by how gay they are.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have 9 foods. I'm going to start with number 9. I want to hear what you think the least gay food is.
Right now, though, with our topics that we brought in, I feel like I'm the boring parent. And then the fun parent comes in and is like, let's rank the Thanksgiving foods by gayness.
No, I think what you did, I don't think what you talked about was boring at all. I think it was great. I think you did a really, really good job.
History is important, children. And you will be fed history whether you like it or not. Mommy loves you.
Mommy loves you. But I definitely am. My topic is not as in depth as yours is.
What I think is the least gay is the green beans.
Okay, that's interesting.
The green beans with like the little almond pieces. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, the green bean casserole. So for me, number 9, I'm just gonna kind of do this rapid fire. Number 9, least gayest. Turkey is the least gay food. Okay.
Oh yeah,
and
sure.
I know. And while it is perfectly golden bronze bird dripping in oil, which may sound very gay at first, it's also the most traditional. Okay, and I'll say it, the least exciting. And the gays are anything but traditional and
Boring.
An exciting bunch. Okay.
Yeah.
It also requires the gutting of a previously living animal, which just feels kind of homophobic.
Yeah.
Turkey makes you sleepy, and in my experience with the queer community, they're a very energizing bunch. You're not going to be sleepy around the gays. And carving the turkey is usually reserved for the quote-unquote man of the house, which is just like a traditional gender norm, and that's not gay. So I'm going to say turkey is the least gay food. There's no debate on that. All right, number 8.
I just got so like angry about male of the house carves turkey. I was like, what if I want to carve the turkey? And then I remembered I've been vegan for 6 years. But everything in my body that wanted to be more important than the man of the house took over for a second. And I just wanted to take you all on that journey with me.
No, thank you. You're like, for this 1 second, I'm going to rip the shit out of this bird and then go back to being a vegan.
Because I'm the man.
Yeah, you're the man. Yeah, you go, Julie. All right.
Same with the man.
Number 8, we have mashed potatoes. Okay, hear me out. While they are delicious, they are decidedly not gay. And in my opinion, they're the least special of the Thanksgiving sides, meaning that people eat mashed potatoes all year round. Like, I don't think of mashed potatoes as like a special Thanksgiving only food, which makes me feel like it's, I don't know, gays are special. It's just not special. It's also usually not the prettiest food, and gays are pretty. Like, you'd rarely hear someone say like, oh, those mashed potatoes are gorgeous. Like, it's just white lumps. Unless it has some type of, decoration on them, some type of accoutrement, which automatically makes any food gayer if there's decorations, especially if it's solely for aesthetic purposes. But yeah, that's why mashed potatoes number 8 for me. Number 7, green bean casserole. For me personally, it's not a standout at the Thanksgiving table. It can be kind of bland. It's more of just like a filler dish, and gays are never just filler people. But it is a little bit more gay than mashed potatoes because it has more fiber in it, and fiber is gay. At number 6, we have pumpkin pie. This one's short and sweet. It has the spices of gayness, but not the texture of gayness. At number 5, we have any fruit pie because it's fruity and can be served with ice cream, which is pretty gay. Yeah.
I can be served with ice cream.
Yeah, yes, you can. At number 4, we have sweet potato casserole. Okay, it's not everyone's favorite, but it is a favorite of some, like gay people.
Hey!
And, yeah. And it's covered in marshmallows and brown sugar, which is super gay. Number 3, pecan pie. Sweet, sticky, baked to perfection, covered in nuts. Gay.
Yes.
At number 2, we have leftovers because there's nothing gayer than literally throwing everything in your fridge in a sandwich. And number 1, do you have any guesses on what number 1 is?
Cranberry sauce?
Cranberry sauce. Okay, it's... Yes, it's sticky, it's sweet, it's tart, it's shiny, it's hot pink. It makes everything else on the plate also hot pink, and it usually comes from a can. It's basically the Trixie Mattel of Thanksgiving food.
Oh!
Yes, cranberry sauce is a drag queen. You cannot change my mind. And I love that it also colors literally everything else on your Thanksgiving plate. You're like, she arrives and she's like, I'm hot pink, and all you bitches are gonna be hot pink too. Work. So that's the definitive ranking of Thanksgiving foods by gayness.
I loved everything about that. Wow. I have so much to think about.
It took a lot of thought. It really did, because I was like, and then, Ellie, you idiot. I guess I would maybe put actually like stuffing gayer than leftovers, because stuffing is just literally delicious bread stuffed inside a bird, which also pretty gay.
Also, too many stuffing jokes to be made.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that there. It's low-hanging fruit, but yeah, that's all the gayness of Thanksgiving food.
Gayness of Thanksgiving foods. If you had to assign a sexuality to oh, Molly's licking Ellie's face.
Molly's here. She's arrived. Molly,
If you had to assign a sexuality to the gayest of these foods, like stuffing would be like true gay man.
Molly just pulled my headphones off because she's
Molly,
please. She's so tangled in my
Molly has something to say, and she needs all of you all to hear it.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, I would say, yeah, turkey is a straight white man, mashed potatoes are a straight white woman, green bean casserole, I would just say is straight, pumpkin pie, I would say is maybe bi-curious.
Yes.
Any fruit pie, I would say, is like solidly bisexual.
Yep.
Sweet potato casserole, I would say like femme lesbian.
Yes.
Pecan pie, mask lesbian.
Woo!
Stuffing, gay man.
That's what I said.
Leftovers. Yeah, leftovers are non-binary. And then cranberry sauce is like femme gay man, like drag queen.
Yes. I agree with all of that. 100%.
And leftovers are also non-monogamous.
Yes. I love that. Polyamorous, non-binary leftovers.
Yes.
Now I'm really hungry. I want to eat all of the gays and some of the straights.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I'd be down to eat all of them except the turkey.
Yeah, me too. I mean, honestly, mashed potatoes sound really good right now, so I guess I want to get with a straight woman, which never ends well. But
the mashed potatoes, I really could have some words with mashed potatoes at the moment. It's very cold in New York, as I'm sure it is in Chicago as well, and I could just get in a bath of mashed potatoes at the moment.
Next episode of Liz, Ellie and I will bathe in mashed potatoes. It's not as dirty as it sounds. It's actually quite disgusting.
Okay, if you had to get in a bathtub full of any of these foods, like for real, what would it be? Because for me, I'm thinking probably green bean casserole, just because I think that feels like the most. I feel like it feels like the most sanitary. Like, I mean, I'm not going to get in a bathtub of turkey. Mashed potatoes, and I just feel like every other food on here, probably besides green bean casserole, would give me a yeast infection.
Yeah. I still think I would do cranberry sauce.
That is just asking for it. Well, I guess cranberries do help with, UTIs and stuff. I don't know. We'll have to we'll test it out and get back to you guys.
Check us out on YouTube, where we will sit in every Thanksgiving food and then cry.
Okay.
While you're thinking about all this, while you're thinking about all this Thanksgiving food, you might be looking forward or not looking forward to the holidays, because the holidays, especially Thanksgiving, is the time when our families come together to judge our life choices. So, Ellie and I have come up with 10 scenarios that may or may not happen, or something like it might happen. We've given some random names and random things like uncle or grandpa, but it could be your grandma or your aunt or, cat who says these things, and we want you to be prepared. So we've come up with 10 scenarios of something that might happen where someone says something a little crappy about your genderqueerness, or a very crappy about your genderqueerness, about your sexuality, about your sexuality. Lifestyle.
Yes,
your relationship.
Just
so on.
Yeah, most opportunities where people could have to potentially insult you, whether on purpose or not on purpose.
Yes. So once again, Ellie gets to be the fun parent here because after every scenario, I will give you the nice thing to say, and Ellie will give you the naughty thing to say. But both of them is valid advice, depending on how far at the end of your rope you are when speaking with your relatives.
Yes. Okay, so how do we want to do the questions? Do you want to read the questions? Do you want to go popcorn? What do we...
We can take turns. We can go back and forth. Okay. So, number 1. Your aunt says she doesn't get why being non-binary is a thing. All right, getting into character. Hey, Aunt Marge. Being non-binary and other forms of genderqueerness has existed under different names across cultures throughout all of history. It was eradicated due to Western religion, but now we've gotten to a place progressively that we're allowing genderqueerness to exist openly. It's a thing because some people just don't feel right being forced to live under society's perceptions of manhood and womanhood. I was actually listening to this podcast where this really hot girl told me about two-spirited Indigenous folk who were considered some of the most important and revered members of their community. Anyway, it's okay if you don't fully understand it. Just please try to be respectful of people's pronouns and what they wish to be called.
Okay, so I said to tell your aunt, look it up online, you cunt punt. Okay.
I haven't heard any of these, by the way, so I actually don't know if I endorse what Ellie says or not, but wow, that was really good.
And I can't be sure if I endorse anything what Julie says. I think Julie and I would, in real life, have very different responses.
Yes.
So here we go. For our next question, our next scenario, your grandfather refuses to use your correct pronouns. Julie, how might you respond to this?
Hey, Grandpa. It'd be really great if you could just respect my identity as I tell you it is. I know you don't understand any of it, and I'm not asking you to wear a rainbow t-shirt or march in a parade. I am just asking you to respect who I am. You wouldn't like it if I started calling you Grandma, right? I love you, but I'm not going to want to spend time with you if you refuse to acknowledge who I am.
Okay, so I didn't say that. I said, my pronouns are she, her. If you don't want to use those, that's fine. But I guess that means that your pronouns are dumb bitch.
Oh my god.
Like, I think that's a pretty good, like, okay, like, if it's like the first time, like, if your grandfather is trying and accidentally uses the wrong pronouns, like, I think it's safe to be like, you know what, like, hey, I'm checking you, those aren't my right pronouns, however, I appreciate you trying. But if your grandfather is straight up like, I refuse to, yeah, his pronouns are dumb bitch.
Yep. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, what's our third scenario?
3, your parents keep referring to your lesbian partner as your little friend. All right, and here's my answer. In here I go. Okay, Mom and Dad, I love you, but are you each other's little friend? Also, if my parents were listening to this question, they'd be like, yeah, that's my little friend. But okay, Mom and Dad, I love you, but are you each other's little friend? I am so thankful you let me bring her here for the holidays, but I don't want you to operate under the guise that she's just my friend. This isn't just a phase. Lauren is my partner, my girlfriend, and respectfully, I expect you to treat her the same way as you do when cousin Jenna brings Michael to Thanksgivings.
Also, like, I think, unless you do have a girlfriend named Lauren that I don't know about, I just want to let listeners know that Lauren's not a real person, so don't go, like, hunting down a Lauren. Because honestly, knowing your TikTok followers, they'd be like, oh my god, Julie has a girlfriend named Lauren and we need to find her right now.
We have to find Lauren. No, there is no romantic partner named Lauren. I have a couple friends named Lauren, so it's funny that I chose that name.
Okay, so I said, she's actually not my little friend. She is a hostage. She is the daughter of a mattress magnate that I'm holding ransom, and once I get paid, you'll never see me again. Also, we're in love, and her hair smells like coconuts. So in that scenario, just make something up. I mean, in this scenario, this would be true because I am holding someone ransom who is the daughter of a mattress magnate, but Again, just skirt around it.
Yes. And for all of my followers who want to know who Ellie is holding ransom, who's the daughter of a mattress magnate, it's me.
Yes. Amazing. Okay, so for this next one, your grandmother is confused because you came out as bisexual, but now you're in a straight passing relationship?
Oh! Hey, Grandma, if you think I'm straight, you're denying a large part of my identity. If I date a woman, I'm not a lesbian all of a sudden, just like if I date a man, I'm not straight all of a sudden. Because sexuality isn't about who it is that you're actively dating. You could spend your whole life having a crush on someone, but never actually end up being with anybody. So, if you could just understand that bisexuality is who I am, no matter who I'm dating, that would be great. Thanks for making pie.
Okay. I said, I go both ways, Grandma, meaning I'm attracted to the idea of killing you, but I'm also attracted to the idea of killing everyone in your Rotary Club.
Okay.
Yeah, mine go veer violent at points.
Yeah. I scripted, if you couldn't tell, I scripted the first 5, and then I thought it would be fun if I improv'd the last 5. So now you're gonna be hearing me just do my best, but still give you the positive and kind advice on how I would act in this situation with a cheesy sitcom-y feel.
Cute.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want if you're gonna improv it, do you want me to ask them to you?
Okay, sure.
Okay. So number 5. Okay, I'm your young, stupid fucking cousin. And I'm wondering what is being gay, Julie?
Hey, Billy. I don't think you're a stupid fucking kid at all. I think you're a smart fucking kid. And here's what I have to tell you about being gay. I don't know if your parents have had this talk with you yet, and so it might not be my place to tell you about any of this. But I will tell you that what I do experience is attraction to both men and women. And some people who are women like me have attraction to women, have attraction to non-binary people, have attraction. It's all sorts of different. So, just in the future, know that you may see someone in a relationship that doesn't look like what you thought it would, but that is okay. The most important thing to have in a relationship is consent, Billy. What's consent? You'll find out later. Love you.
Okay, well, I said, that's such a stupid fucking question. How do you not have at least one bisexual friend? Literally everyone I know is bisexual, you stupid fucking idiot. Oh. So different strokes for different folks.
Oh my god. This is my favorite segment we've ever done. And Ellie is absolutely just killing me right now. She is a star.
But Julie, your responses are so, appropriate. What should be said. I just don't have any patience for fuckery. One time, I don't think my grandfather listens, but one time we took a family photo and my grandfather was there and he looked at the photo afterwards. I was 13 at the time. And he was like, oh my God, Ellie looks pregnant in this photo.
Oh my God.
I think most people would be like, oh, he's just a little older. He doesn't know what he's saying. I went the fuck off on him. I was like, absolutely not. You were not to comment on my body or anyone's body.
Excellent.
In short, I have very little patience for tomfoolery or fuckery of the sort. Okay, so we're on number 6 now. Do you want me to ask? Okay, I'm a dad. Hey.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, Julie.
Hi, Dad.
Your trans cousins here. What
good.
genitals do they have? I'm confused.
Dad. Okay, Dad. Wow, Dad.
What?
Dad,
Is that bad to ask, Julie?
Dad, I love you. I love you. Believe me.
I love you too, Julie.
Okay, but Dad,
Yeah?
asking about someone who you're related to, asking about what genitals they have is kind of really inappropriate. And I don't think you need to know that information. I don't know what purpose you would need to know that information. I think the most important thing with cousin Louis, the most important thing with cousin Louis is that you respect his pronouns. And I know that it can be confusing, and people are looking.
But Julie, does Louis have a penis or a vagina or something else?
Well,
I'm confused.
Okay, well, Dad, would you like it if Aunt Martha asked Mom how big you are, how many inches you have? Would you like that?
No, Julie.
Yeah, that's right, because talking about people's private parts is weird, especially when you're related to them. So again, yeah, I know, Dad, I know. People look different than how you grew up, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't respect them, and that doesn't mean that we can't learn new ways of speaking to people and talking about them. But what has always remained and will always remain is that we shouldn't invade other people's boundaries, and we shouldn't disrespect them or talk about their private parts. Okay, Dad? Now...
Thanks, Julie. Thank you. Thank you for educating me.
Why
I don't know where the voice
character that Michael Scott made.
Yes. I was like, I don't know why in my head I was like, is it Cookie Monster? But it's something. Something was happening.
Yeah. Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome, Dad.
Okay, so our next wait, what I said to that yours, was yeah. Her? She doesn't have genitals. Didn't you fucking know, you stupid piece of shit? In between all trans people's legs are portals to other realms far more complex than your pea-sized brain could ever comprehend. So it's best we don't talk about it. Also, it's none of your fucking business, you asshat.
Shaboom. Thanks. Thank you. If I'm your dad, I'm saying, okay then. Right on, Ellie.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Right on, Ellie.
Okay. Okay. Our next question, and we're on number 7. Okay. I'm your British uncle. You have a British uncle in this scenario.
Love that for me.
British uncle, and I was wondering which one of you is the girl in the relationship and which one is the boy.
Oh boy, Uncle Pitters. That is not that's not a really great question to ask, because when you're in a queer relationship, you're not trying to live up to a heterosexual relationship, a straight relationship. You're not trying to become that. You're trying to exist in your own love. And so, yes, in some gay couples, you might see someone who presents more masculine and someone who presents more feminine, but there are just as many couples in which 2 people present feminine, 2 people present masculine, and it shouldn't have anything to do with who is the boy and who is the girl in the relationship, because honestly, that just plays into gender stereotypes of who owes who what, and we are trying to get past that. Queerness is a rejection of that and of a belief that love can exist in multiple different ways. So while I appreciate your interest in our relationship, I am the girl and she is the girl, and we love each other just as much as anyone else.
Pip, pip.
Okay, Uncle Pitters.
Cheerio. Yeah, well done, love.
And you say?
Oh, right. I have something to say too. Right. Neither of us are the girl or the boy. In fact, we're not even human. None of us are. This is all just a simulation, and you're in the Matrix. But even in a simulation, that's a pretty sexist and heteronormative question to ask. So we're unplugging you now. Bye.
Nice.
See, that's when gaslighting can be a tool for good. It's just gaslight your problematic relative into thinking none of this is real.
Yes, and that is the kind of gay rights behavior that we like to see. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss your relatives.
Yes. Okay. Our next scenario is, all right, you are an aromantic and asexual person, and your sister keeps asking you why you don't date much. So, okay, I'm your sister. Hey. No,
Oh.
wait. Okay, your sister talks like this.
Okay, Brenda.
Hey, why don't, hey, Julie, why don't you date much? I'm confused.
I'm confused as to how we grew up in the same household and you have a New York accent and I speak like me.
Hey, that's just Jess.
That's just Jess. It's Jess.
It's just Jess.
Oh, Brenda. You see, I don't experience attraction in the same way that you or others do, and in fact, I just like doing other things. I have better things to do with my time, and while I could maybe date at some point, I'm just not ever going to experience attraction or romance in the way that society wants me to. And I don't get why that's such a high priority. Yes, love is a wonderful and beautiful thing, but it can exist in so many different ways. And I would honestly much rather be reading a book, playing a video game, going outside with my disc golf team. And that's a happy life for me. So you don't have to worry. I'm very happy and I'm doing great. But dating's not a huge priority for me.
Hey, good for you, kid. You got your priorities straight.
Thanks, Brenda.
I said, no problem. I said, I don't date much because I don't fucking feel like it. And when I've considered dating someone, I didn't because there was a small possibility that they would be like you. And honestly, you're just not my favorite. So just to play it safe and keep things good, I avoid dating altogether.
For sure.
In that scenario, you're like, I don't date because you suck.
Because you suck.
Yeah.
Make it their fault.
Yeah.
Always make it their fault.
Yes, exactly. Okay, for this next question, okay. I'm your brother, and I'm from Ireland.
Oh, hi.
And I know that you're in a polyamorous relationship, but I think it's really bad that you're cheating on your boyfriend.
Oh, Sean, my sweet brother. You see, my sweet Irish brother, my sweet bastardized Irish brother.
That's me, Julie.
Yeah. So, I understand that our relationship doesn't look like most relationships that you've seen, but it is entirely polyamorous, which means we are both free to be with each other and see other people on our own terms. We have all sorts of boundaries listed out. I love my boyfriend, Hans, dearly, but I brought Kermit to Thanksgiving because he happened to be in town and Hans was with another partner of his. It is all welcome, consensual, and loving here in this polycule. And I hope that maybe you can open your mind to the fact that love doesn't always look like the same thing all the time. Sean?
That's lovely, Julie. I lost the accent. I struggle with hey, my Irish, Julie, that's absolutely lovely, love. I went different there, but that was my Irish.
You went
accent.
different.
I went different. Okay, here's the last one. Okay.
No, you gotta.
I'm yours.
No.
Oh, right. Fuck. Okay, I keep forgetting mine. Okay, I
made the mistake of dangling the carrot of improv over Ellie's head, and now she has a one-track mind on improv. It's one of my biggest regrets in all of life, but we've opened this door and we cannot close it now.
Okay, I'll say my part. Wait, you and your boyfriend aren't also polyamorous? Weird. I guess I just assumed you guys were because I just made out with him in the bathroom.
Oh! Damn, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
So you're
really
like,
good.
oh, that's so weird. I just made out with your boyfriend. And that works, honestly, in any scenario.
Yeah, like when your grandpa
Yeah, your answer to any of these questions could be like, weird, I just made out with your boyfriend in the bathroom.
So, I don't know what to say about that.
Like,
Wow,
your aunt's like,
that
I
was
don't get
really
why
good.
non-binary is a thing. And you're like, weird, I just made out with your boyfriend in the bathroom. It works literally in
I
any
just
scenario.
made out with your boyfriend. Your little cousin's like, what does it mean to be gay? And you're like, weird, I just made out with your boyfriend in the bathroom.
See? It works for every
time.
It works. Okay. This is the last one. It's number 10. Okay. I'm your sister-in-law, and I'm fine with gay people. I just don't like seeing gay people and like having it like shoved down my throat, you know? Ew.
I feel like your name is Melissa.
I'm Melissa, and I am not into the gays. Like, I'm such an ally, but I'm like, don't want to see it. Gross.
Melissa, think about that from my perspective. I mean, that kind of hurts my feelings because I'm an openly queer person. And what it kind of sounds like you're saying is you just don't want me to exist, or you don't want me to look like how I look, or be openly loving with people that I love. It's a little bit hurtful. And I don't think that you can really truthfully call yourself an ally if you're saying you don't want to see gayness all the time. Now, in terms of feeling like gayness is being shoved down your throat, quote, ew. Straightness has been shoved down our throats our entire lives. As soon as you get to an age of talking, it's either being asked if you're a little girl, who's your boyfriend, or if you're a little boy, who's your girlfriend. And that's honestly a really creepy thing that adults do to kids. But needless to say, it's all about princesses and princes and getting rescued and falling in love with your true love, who is always either a boy or a girl, depending on your gender. It's a very binary way of looking at things, and it's been very hurtful and damaging to queer people for years. So this queerness that you feel is being shoved down your throat is actually really necessary for the young people of the world to see and to feel safe and welcome. So if you really want to be an ally, I would say maybe reconsider saying things like you don't like having gayness shoved down your throat, because it's just us existing.
Uh-oh.
What's wrong, Ellie?
No, yeah, like that makes a lot of sense, I guess. Whatever.
Okay, Melissa.
Okay, so I said, and this has got to be my favorite one. I actually set up a whole scenario for you. So,
oh, cool.
You start when Melissa says, "I don't like having gayness shoved down my throat." You immediately start blasting Lady Gaga and release poppers into the AC unit. Okay, so everyone's high on poppers. Lady Gaga is echoing through the corridors of your home, and in the confusion of the spontaneous chaos, Melissa will be caught unawares, okay? She won't see it coming. This is when you get out the rainbow cake that you baked specifically for this situation, and you literally shove it down her throat, okay? No matter how much she protests, no matter how much she screams and cries, she will eat that fucking cake, okay? And once this part is over, she will be a lesbian.
Ooh! I love that ending. Wow! Sister-in-law.
So that's how you do it.
Pipeline from sister-in-law to wife.
Yeah, and that's how you steal your brother's boy and your other brother's girl in the same night.
Yes, yeah, and remember, folks, it's weird. I was just making out with your boyfriend in the bathroom.
Yeah. And that's honestly it. When in doubt, that's just the fallback response.
Absolutely. I feel like that should be the title of this episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Well, I think that's all we have for you, babes.
That is all we have for you, babes. What a fantastic Thanksgiving journey we all went on. We got to confront our whiteness. We got to think about the food we will eat and how gay some of it is, but not all of it. And then we got to learn what it is like to be with either Ellie or me on the holidays.
Yeah, I would advise you, if any of you have like an option, or there's some scenario in which you're like, could you bring Julie home for the holidays or bring Ellie home for the holidays? Bring Julie. I would bring Julie home for the holidays over me for the holidays.
Hey, Ellie just invited me home for the holidays.
Fine, but there will be turkey there, so sorry about that.
Well,
I know.
Now I'm just gonna sit at the table at Thanksgiving and just cry openly while I blast a Mitski album throughout the entire dinner.
Yeah. Everyone will love that.
I think they will.
Everyone would be a huge fan of
I'm
that.
actually going to film the whole thing and put it on YouTube as a dramatic art piece, and your family will have to sign a release form, and it will not be an option.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
But that's all we have for you, turkey gobblers and stuffers.
And tofurkey huggers.
Tofurkey huggers. Cranberry saucers.
Green beans.
Fiends. Mashed potato magicians.
We already did green. I just did green bean. Pecan pie.
Pirates.
Pecan pirates.
Pecan pirates. Sweet potato potatoes. Sweet potato hose.
Pumpkin spice.
Sluts.
Pumpkin spice sluts.
That's our new band name. I called it.
Okay, work.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Have a happy Thanksgiving. You want to do your little sign off, Miss Missy?
Okay. Thank you for listening to Liz. Thank you for joining in with us. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And hey, remember, sexiness is a state of mind, especially after you've eaten your weight's worth in Thanksgiving food.
And I'm Ellie Rudy. You're supposed to say your names. What are you supposed to say?
I'll do it again. I'm Julie Jester. I'm
keeping this in, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Julie Jester, and sexiness is a state of mind, especially now.
In this economy.
Especially in this economy.
And I'm Ellie Rudy, and I will see you in the bath of mashed potatoes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This episode of Liz was edited and produced by me, Ellie Rudy, and co-hosted by the lovely Julie Jester, who's also our head of community outreach. If you'd like to support Liz, please hop on our Patreon and join at any level. Or, at the very least, you can give us a 5-star rating and review. It really helps. Tell your dogs, doctors, and door people about us. Thank you. Bye-bye.